Welcome to the No Bull Political Arena with your hosts, Sophia Nelson, Bill O'Reilly, Brian Mistro, and TJ McCormick. It's real voices, raw politics, and no bullshit. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Sophia, and we wanted to do just a real quick little show on where we're at right now with Iran. I think Sophia and I have traditionally and typically had pretty much the exact same thoughts going through with this. And I'll start off, and then I'll pass it over to you, Sophia. Uh, what a disaster. I was listen, nobody's going to miss Iran. Okay, it's a disastrous regime. Nobody's going to miss the Ayatollah being killed. But is the reason I was against this is because while our military is capable, we didn't have the political side taken care of. And so lo and behold, what happens? He goes in there and Donald Trump steps into a bucket of you know what, and now he can't get himself out of it, thinking this was Venezuela or something. And then he's trying to fuss at our allies for not coming in here and helping when they weren't even consulted in the first place. And so as of right now, and this everything is changing every minute, it seems like, appears that the ceasefire that was negotiated, which was the absolute worst possible ceasefire I've ever seen in my entire life, was negotiated with Trump trying to find some way to get out of it, but it looks like it's already broken. So give me your thoughts, Sophia. I know you and I pretty much think a lot of the same things about this, but what a disaster. And people have died because of this decision. People have died. Military men and women have died. So,
There's a lot to unpack there. I want to be thoughtful and measured in my comments because I think when you deal with foreign policy, the old standard used to be when you and I were growing up in the 80s when Reagan was president and, down the line, you never criticized the commander in chief when we had actions going on overseas. That has completely changed.
yeah,
One, because this commander in chief is not like anything we have ever seen before. That's like kind of the first thing I kind of want to put into the pot here as we kind of stir this around and try to figure out what's going on. I think the second thing is that Iran is not Venezuela.
mm-mm.
Iran, there's a reason why for the last since 1979, right? The last 50 years, no US president has bombed Iran. There's a reason for that. Not because they were chickens or cowards or any of
Mm-hmm.
that kind of foolishness. It's because we actually had a State Department that was functional. We had a diplomatic corps that was functional. We had a national security infrastructure and a joint chiefs that, when they made the recommendations, as Kane and others did, General Kane and others did from all the
Mm-hmm.
reporting, said we shouldn't do this. But Netanyahu and Trump, boys, bosom buddies, Bernie's weekend. They got a weekend out and it's like they got blitzed drunk and decided, well, hell, let's just do it. And that's really why the allies are offended, to your point. There wasn't a sit down where you got, the European allies on, the UK, France, etc., and said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we can all agree that this is a brutal regime that kills its citizens for wanting basic human rights, but then I'm not sure we can talk a whole lot given what's happened with ICE and everything else in America.
Right.
All the reporting from the UN, and I know a lot of people dismiss the UN, but the World Human Rights Organizations, et cetera, we are now the United States of America, Brian, on a list of countries considered moving towards fascism and authoritarianism by objective standards of just what we're doing.
Right.
So I say all that to say when you go into Iran under those conditions, and it's really Israel and the United States against the world, I'm not sure that was ever going to go well because Israel finds itself always under assault and attack, and it's been that way since the book of Exodus, right? So at the end of the day, I think that it's important that we really have a context of understanding of what's exactly going on. And I was listening to an economist today, Brian, and the American people are going to feel this one hard at the
Yeah.
pump.
Oh, yeah.
good friend sent me a screenshot of gas in Southern California, diesel over $8 a gallon, regular over $6 a gallon. It's over four and a quarter here in Virginia. Not sure about where you are. Um, but I say all that to say Americans are going to feel this one. And the economist was saying that it's 12 months at a minimal. And this is going to get worse before it gets better because of the Strait of Hormuz and what's going on there. To your point about this ceasefire and the way that they've structured it, I'm confused already. And it's only been what, since this morning? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know whether I believe the Iranians. Do I believe Trump? Do I believe the Israelis? Do I believe, because none of them are on the same page.
No,
So this goes back to my earlier point of American diplomacy, where the Secretary of State ran diplomacy, not Jared Kushner and Wyckoff, right? Witkoff, rather. So I think, and then, the Vice President of the United States is in Hungary, campaigning for an EU wannabe autocrat baby Putin dictator that
exactly who he
hates
is.
Ukraine. I mean, I don't know where we are as we get ready to celebrate 250 years of being the greatest light, that city on a hill, the great beacon of hope and freedom to the world. I don't know where we are. And I say to our listeners that, we're unpacking this stuff in real time. We always want to give you our straight thoughts, but I do want to be measured in that this is actually quite serious. And I don't think the world has felt the implications even close to where we are. I mean, you've got North Korea saying they're going to start nuking and bombing people, if Iran continues to be attacked. I mean, you've got rogue actors, right, who don't value life, who don't care about those things, who oppress their own people.
Right.
I don't think, and someone raised this in the White House press corps today. How can the president, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, of the United States of America send out a tweet? First of all, foreign policy by tweet's a disaster. He can't even spell correctly most of the time. But let's put that aside. And he says that he's going to destroy an entire civilization. He's going to blow up civilian targets, which under the Geneva Convention are war crimes. And everybody shrugs their shoulders. And this person asked the White House press secretary, to the point, how does America still have the heft and the gravitas and the moral authority when the American president says stuff like this and threatens to burn the world down and doesn't care? Your thoughts? I'd love to know how you see that tweet that he sent out on Easter Sunday and then the one after.
Yeah, and we'll put that up right here so everybody can read it. And I'll share just a brief thoughts. My initial thought was probably the same as everybody. It's not helpful. It's terrible. It's not just the president, it's the presidency. And the way that he runs this, I am 100% disagree with in every respect. But here's something else that people didn't talk about enough. He backed himself in a corner with that because he set once again another deadline that was either going to either have to force him to do massive bombardments and potentially war crimes, or he was going to have to take the second door and accept a horrible deal, just anything to get him from out of it. Well, which one did he choose? He chose the horrible deal. Okay.
Taco.
Yeah. And so it was just strategically dumb. And you were saying a minute ago about our moral authority in the world. It's going to be really hard for us when we do have another bad actor, and there's some really bad actors in this world. When they do something similar to what we have done, and we say, no, you can't do that because of international law, or no, you can't do that because it's wrong, and so forth, because we have no moral authority after Trump. So it was stupid. It was strategically dumb. He didn't think it all the way through. It kind of goes back to, Obama's red line in Syria, where Republicans were rightfully jumping his rear end about backing himself in a corner. Well, Trump just did that again. Okay. So this whole thing is a mess. People have died because of it. I'm not even
Troops,
talking about just our military. I mean, there's innocent
babies,
civilians in Iran that have died because of this.
kids.
And we are now, in my position, at a position that is probably even worse than where we were before we started bombing. And
Well, the
so,
question now is what happens with the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, that's the ballgame,
yeah,
right? Because if I am, a Fortune 10, 20, 50 global shipping company and I've got to go through that strait, and now they're talking about a toll, by the way, and he said, me and Iran, not the United States and Iran, which makes me horrified that Jared Kushner and Trump have cut some kind of deal where they're going to be
Mm.
taking tolls and making some cash and putting it in the same bank account where they took $1 billion out of the US Treasury and put it into this peace institute he's got.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what that means, but if I'm a insurer and I'm looking at the liability here, I don't know. It's tough. And that's what the economist was saying, that just the impact on this is serious and something that we all ought to be really bracing for.
100%. Yeah, I'll just back up what you just said because the economists that I've been watching over the last few days, they've said it doesn't matter if they just completely open up the strait right now. It's so backed up that the impact of what's going to happen is already coming. It's going
Yeah,
to
she
come.
said a year is good, is the best case scenario, and then there's the fertilizer issue, right?
That's right.
And boy, I tell you, you're really looking at, and if you're the Iranians, you could play the long game. There people are in those countries where you have oppressive regimes, tragically, just like in Gaza and other places with Hamas, people are used to being abused, beat without, they sacrifice, they suffer, and they don't have any power. In this country, we're not used to anything remotely close to that. And so I'm heartened that I see millions and millions of Americans marching in the streets, but Congress has checked out.
Yeah.
Brian, like, Congress is gone. They don't work anymore and they refuse to check this president. The Democrats, as a minority opposition party, can do nothing in our system. And we, the people, are marching, but I still don't think we're making our voices heard enough where it makes them have to change course. And then little by little, and I think this is the more broader context of how Iran is really the catalyst and it's not the whole thing, because they're talking about now counterterrorism units here at home to start monitoring which Americans oppose Trump, and
Yeah.
using the IRS to go after nonprofits and things. Like, we are really, if people want to know how Nazi Germany happened, you're seeing it unfold right now in real time. And I'm not just saying it, some of the world's greatest scholars in Europe who've studied this thing for 30,
That's
40
right.
years, 20, 30, 40 years, are all saying, if you want to know what it looks like, this is what it looks like. America's in a very slow creep, and it might not be so slow, where Trump can pretty much do whatever he wants to do, and there's zero check on him at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Because the Republicans in Congress, at least back in the Nixon years,
Yep.
that at least those people were willing to stand up to the executive branch. They don't have that right now.
Well, I think that's what the founding fathers, in this 250th year, I think if, Franklin was sitting on here with us and Jefferson and Adams, we'll just take those three, right, in the Declaration of Independence, and if we were to show them what was going on, they would say the one thing we never banked on as we went into the Constitutional Convention was the Article 1 branch, the legislative branch, completely capitulating itself and being complicit with the mad, crazy king, the
Yeah.
mad dictator, the mad fascist. The Article 3 branch has tried to hold up. The Supreme Court's been wishy washy at best. And I think they're going to shut down the birthright citizenship. I think that's going to be pretty close
Do you
to.
think they will?
I do. I think it'll be 7-2. I think Thomas and Alito are just awful justices and they need to retire. They're old and they're ridiculous. And you can't say you're a strict constructionist and not keep the 14th Amendment intact, right? Like,
Mm,
duh.
right.
So it's going to be 7-2, maybe 9-0. Maybe I'm wrong, because I think even Alito and Thomas's questions were skeptical.
Mm.
So I say all that to say, I think the thing I hope we get into this spring, Brian, on the show, when we get the whole team back together, is we really begin to unpack what's happening to this democracy day by day and how it is unraveling fast and what that means.
Yeah, I think that would be something that, and it doesn't even have to be partisan. I mean, we can be looking at a lot of this stuff that is just structural fixes and things. I'd love to do that because as we enter our 250th year, we have a responsibility as citizens to stand up, especially folks like you and me and the rest of the team that are so active in politics, to stand up and say, this is what's happening, folks. Pay attention. And these are the changes that we need to make.
Well,
Um,
I heard a rumor that one of your co-hosts has a new book coming out soon.
yes, I heard that rumor too. Tell me
And
about that co-host.
yeah, that would be me. And the book is titled Redefining Freedom. And people are like, what is that? That's pretty catchy. What does that mean? What I'm saying is I'm going back to Jefferson's famous refrain where he says, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time. And of course, he says, with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And people take that as Jefferson literally saying, I want people to bleed and to go to war. That's
Mm,
not what he's saying. He's saying that you got to be willing to put it on the line for this thing all the time because freedom is not free. Democracy does not sustain itself. Freedom has a cost, and every generation, Brian, has to win it again and again and again. So every 30 years, every 50 years, and this is held true in America, right? When we started in 1776, and you fast forward through different milestones, in each one of those either 20, 30, 40, 50 year periods, new rights were expanded into the Constitution, right?
right, right.
Slavery was done away with. Women got the right to vote. We got civil rights. We did it did exactly what the founders believed when they said a more perfect union. People forget that's one of my favorite phrases, to form a more perfect union. Understanding that when it was formed, it was not perfect, but it was better than a tyrannical king
Absolutely.
usurping rights and oppressing men that they couldn't just have their most basic rights of speech or to travel or to be free or to get married and have a family and live on a farm or live in a city. And that's what America's about. And so my book is this call. It's I want to say it's like a call to my fellow citizens for three things. One, we have to renew those founding ideas because as we've been talking about, they're lost and they've been shuttered. The guardrails have fallen. So we're
Hmm.
going to have to renew that purpose. The second thing we're going to need to do is bridge the divides between us because there are great divides, great division, great tribalism, nationalism, and those things are corrosive to a republic. A republic can't stand. Remember when we took the pledge as kids? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Those things have gotten lost. We grew up with an ethos that really embedded in us. Are you old enough to remember the bicentennial in 1976?
I was a kid then, so I was 5, but so I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm a little
remember very
older
well.
than you. I was like 8. So
Yeah,
the thing is, but I remember taking a picture with the 17, the flag, 1976 and
yeah,
1776. And I remember that being a big thing. And I'm just saying that we don't do that kind of thing anymore where we have this unified, we love
patriotic.
our country.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I hope that in renewing and bridging, two key words, I agree with you 1000% that we have got to rebuild, restructure, renew, redefine, and we have to figure out how to make that Constitution applicable in the 21st century with AI, with tech, and all the things
Yep.
we have. We're not going to throw it out. We don't want to get rid of it because it's got a lot of really good ideas and ideals, but it's got to be brought up to speed. And I think we need term limits. I think we got to get money out of politics in the way it
Yeah.
is. I think we have to encourage a larger swath of our people, Brian, to run for office. We need a younger electorate and a younger set of candidates to govern.
Amen. Yes.
So
Amen. So let me just a quick question. Is your book up for sale now? Can people buy
it's
it?
up for pre-order everywhere books are sold. I'll make sure that we send you a cover so you can put that up for people. And
Yeah.
but it's all over social media. It launches on April 28th, 2026. I'll be all over the TV. We've had a great response from major national media. And I've done well as an author. This is my seventh book in, I don't know, I guess 10 years or something like that, or
Wow.
12 years. So I'm going to write a couple more and then I'm going to call it a day.
Well, Well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll make sure we've got a little link here for everybody that they
I
can see
hope
the
we can
book.
do
And
a show on
yeah,
it and have some guests and maybe do a panel because I think that would be a lot of
I
fun.
do too. I do too. And if we can get some folks in there, kind of democracy reform people, I think that would be
Yes,
even especially helpful. Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining us. If leave your thoughts about the war. Do you agree with it? Do you agree with how it's going? Make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Go to the No Bull Media Group. Again, it's at No Bull Media Group. You'll
Mhm.
get to see this. You'll get to see the hinge of history. You get to see the news. We put out a lot of stuff. It's free, and please sign up for it. And again, thanks Sophia for hopping on and for sharing your book. And we'll
If
have
I
that
could
link here at
just
the end
say
of it.
something real quickly because I know you need to run. I'm glad you're back. And I know that people were asking me and DMing me on Twitter, like, where are you guys? Where's your show? And I'm like, we just got a little hiatus. But I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad the team will be back. And I'm looking forward to Lauren is joining us, right? And
Lauren, that's correct.
we're gonna
Yeah.
have a younger voice among us, which I think is critical. And I love that you've done that. And just glad to have you back, and glad we're moving
Yeah,
forward.
I'm glad. I'm honestly glad to be back. I've missed it and missed chatting with you guys and being a part of it. So thank you so much, Sophia. And thanks for all your support and everybody. Thank you for your support. It really means a lot, especially you, Sophia. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you very soon. Thank you. The No Bull Political Arena is on all major social media platforms. Make sure to give us and your host a follow.
Hey everybody, this is Sophia Nelson. Follow me at I am Sophia Nelson on every one of my social media platforms.
I'm Bill O'Reilly, and you can reach me at Twitter at WFBOR.
Hey, this is TJ. Follow me on X or Twitter at TJ McCormack.
This is Brian Mistro, and you can follow me on X at Brian_Mistro or follow along on Facebook at Brian.Mistro.
A No Bull Media Group member.